I definitely want to touch on access to opportunity. Yeah. And what does access to opportunity look like for Black Detroit? Why is that important? And how do we embrace what is an opportunity for Black Detroit?
I think the access to opportunity comes out of the access of relationships. We have to build better relationships with each other. And I'm not talking about personal relationships. I'm talking about business relationships. Just talking about across different lines. And then the relationship doesn't mean you have to like someone. And because out of that, it creates greater opportunities. But also, more opportunities comes out of what you do for yourself. The more I began to change how I thought, the more I began to change how I behaved, even when I had less money, even when I had less resources, opportunities began to open up for themselves. Just give an example. Fast forward to now, there's folks who say, man, hey, Yusef, here's $10,000 that I can write a check for you. Or I can introduce you to my network, and it's worth $50,000. No, this is an option. Here's two opportunities. Which no rush or no pressure. Take your time, think about it. Which one that you want to operate out of? At one point, I probably would just take the $10,000 and keep it moving, right? Because how often do you see $10,000, like that, right? But when you look at the $50,000, more importantly, the networking, again, the relationship, your net worth has to be determined by your network. Again, repeat, your net worth has to be determined by your network. And your network is about building relationships. There's a ton of people that don't necessarily agree with what I say or how I present myself. But there's more people that respect me in the consistency and the authenticity, right? And many of those folks, I'm pretty sure if I came to them and I said, man, I need such and such. Out of that has created accessibility to opportunity. But I think I'm shifting from instead of saying like-minded, like value. There's a lot of like value people out here. And the difference between like-minded and like value is, like, you can like me today. I can like you today. But not like your ass tomorrow. Because you might be hanging with a motherfucker I don't like. Or you may get on the podcast and say some shit I don't like. Right? I mean, that shit happens all the fucking time. Or the biggest one. I may text you something, and because how my tone of my text came off, what the fuck did he mean? And now we in this rabbit hole, right? But when you got values and you're dealing with from a like value standpoint, it transcends the individual. If I like Kari or Kari like Yusef, and we gonna hang out, we gonna do double dating, all that little cheesy ass shit. But it's more business, it's more people oriented, and there's more of us that's really out there. But we're so, and this is the dynamic of white supremacy, white terrorism, white aggression. That deception is, oh, Kari, you're so great. Oh, Yusef, you're so wonderful, right? But it keeps us away from each other. You and I have been fortunate. We are very intentional with each other. We are very intentional around our relationship. Where we're not hesitant. Hey, Yusef, I need you for such and such. Kari, I need you for, and it's not predicated on what you do in return. It's predicated on the value system that we have. But I know at the end of the day, if I need something from you, and it's in your wheelhouse, you'll do it. And we're not building enough of that. We're not being intentional. Same thing, I always use the rap game, for example. A rapper, there's a party, there's the rapper, and there's the producer. And the first thing the rapper says, man, you hot than a motherfucker. I love to rap on your beats. And the rapper responds, you dope as hell. I would love for you to rap on my beats. And what happens? They exchange numbers. Or nowadays, they exchange emails. And nothing ever happens. Why? Because they get caught up on their individual struggle. And it's only until they run into each other again, damn, man, I can't wait to rap on your beat. But we're not being intentional enough with each other. And being intentional enough with each other, and we have to redefine what opportunities are. We have to redefine what access to opportunities are. Again, opportunities is always not the green dollar. The opportunity, again, so like, because I'm in your network, you may know somebody, man, I need to do a show. Let me call Yusef. Yusef, on June 25th, man, do you got the is the Mama Cool House available? I got my man TEDx, man. I know you don't know him, but this is my man. His resources low, blah, blah, blah. More than likely, on the strength of you, I'm going to do it. And out of that, me and TEDx going to develop a relationship. We may not become best of friends, right? So again, and he don't need a sound system. You got a sound system, right? TEDx, all you got to do is get out there, create some flyers, and pump it up to people, right? And how do I benefit from it? New people are learning about the Mama Cool House. Understanding like you and I are on the same page level. Now there's different dynamics in the struggle, economically, whatever, but we're even. And we benefit from each other by being intentional of sharing and loving each other. And then also in that same scenario, so say me and TEDx do develop a relationship and something break down. First person who I'm calling, Kari. I need you to holler at TEDx, man. He on some bullshit. Or Kari, Yusef, man. I met him through you. I mean, it's cool to fall out with each other. It happens all the time. But in that process, we have to sit down. What is it? Is it childish? Is it high school shit? Or is it some real shit? Because I mean, for me, you know, if you betrayed people, if you tried to, sleep with my woman, you stole some money. I mean, there's some shit like unforgivable, right? But then even then, if you push me for the greater good, I'll be in a room with a motherfucker. I coexist with him or her. I mean, and I think these are the dynamics that like we're not doing enough of. And what happens is the system, and the system doesn't create itself. There's individuals who create the system, but then there's dynamics from the system. And so, white folks and the people in positions of power, they see greater good in you than I do. And that's not until later on, and then they scoop you up. So now you're so insulated in that situation that you no longer can be able to work with me in the way that I need you to. Or it may happen to me, right? But we have to be more intentional, and by closing these doors, and I've repeated it before, closing the ranks, and like this is a war situation that we in as a people. And we have to create a strategy. Who is our enemy? How does this work? How does this function? Kari, I can go and do this presentation, but it'd probably be better that you do it. You're probably the more smooth of us two. You probably have the better intelligence. Not to say I'm less. I mean, again, this is the strategy that we have to have. And my ego, can I put my ego aside for the greater good? To be able to maneuver like that. Hey, and also understanding like the pressure things that work against us, we flip that. Hey, we may need the sister go in there to talk, right? Where we may need the brother going, we may need the gay one of us, right? But we're using these dynamics for a greater strategy because we like Pac said at one point, which is powerful. When I embrace my weaknesses, I began to flourish. When we begin to embrace our weaknesses around us, they no longer can be exploited against us. No longer say, again, Kari, the guy that went to Harvard. Yusef, the guy that went to the penitentiary. But now that I come home and I'm getting treated like the guy that went to Harvard, and the guy that went to Harvard getting treated like the guy that's on the streets. I mean, this is the trickology of what they do, of the old Willie Lynch shit. And also another part of this struggle and this strategy, they don't always have to know that we're working together. We don't always have to telegraph that. So again, we have to have these private conversations. We have to have these public conversations. And then because when we show up and they realize, oh shit, because ultimately they're always going to try to divide us, or the system itself would do it because many of us ain't never had shit.